When I was younger, I had two toys of the Talbot-Matra Rancho, as it was badged in the UK. Now, I had never heard of Talbot or Matra, but this little off-roader intrigued me nonetheless. Both were some of my favourite toy cars, probably due to the functioning split tailgate, but due to the overall design as well. Something about that front end with all those round rear lights, and the boxy glass rear end made me smile, along with definitely the jazzy liveries both the Corgi and Matchbox toys came in. It was with some dismay that later on in life I found out that the real Ranchos are not just rare, but expensive as a result. My childhood dream of owning one was gone, or so it seemed. So what car do I think carries on the Rancho's legacy? Well, don't laugh, but it's this. The Skoda Roomster Scout. This one in particular is my Skoda Roomster Scout. Such is my conviction that it's the closest thing to a modern Rancho. Well, modern-ish. It is now almost 20 years old after all. And now to the elephant in the room. Why do I claim that the Roomster, a car only known for its front window's vague resemblance to a Lancia Stratos, is a worthy successor to one of the most forward-thinking cars of all time? The base Roomster already had many Rancho-esque details. Take, for example, the overall proportions. Both cars twin a hatchback front end with a raised rear end for practicality. Although Skoda tried a bit harder to hide this fact, anyone familiar with the Fabia 2 can immediately tell. Another similar element is the large rear glasshouse, which, aside from providing excellent visibility, also reminds you of the Rancho. I personally like the look and the benefits that big windows give you. However, I have had several comments referring to the car as the Popemobile. I'll leave you to make your own observations. Launched in June 2007, a year after the standard Roomster, my car being from that first month, the Scout doubled down on the Rancho themes. The most obvious difference was all this cladding down here. This encompassed the doors, the bumpers, the wheel arches, all in a swathe of black plastic, as well as the roof rails up top. Well, at least it was all black at some point. So that's why I chose to buy a Roomster. But how has that decision panned out? What's the funky little Skoda like to live with? To find out, let's take a drive. So how is the Roomster to own? Well, it's got a 1.4 diesel engine for when you want to save fuel, a manual gearbox for when you don't, and it's got plenty of space in the back for, well, anything really. When you remove the rear seats, you have around the same amount of space as a Ford Transit Connect, which is quite a lot for a car, especially one this small. And it does feel fairly small when you're driving it. After all, it is based on a Fabia, at the front at least. That diesel engine is a 1.4 TDI 3-cylinder, and it's more powerful than that would suggest. 80 horsepower is the quoted figure, which makes sense. It's far from what you would call fast, although it's definitely not underpowered either. You can keep up with traffic and comfortably do motorway duties in it, which is more than enough for me. The engine also contributes to how I describe the driving, which is relaxing. You hear a lot in car reviews about cars wanting to rev, encouraging you to the red line, but this doesn't want to do that, and I'm fine with that. After all, not all engines need to encourage you. Not every engine needs to be sporty or a redlining Honda. Some of them are just engines. A massive benefit of the engine being quite relaxed is great MPG. After all, this is an engine from a Polo Blue Motion, so the results are what you would expect. Typically, I'll get between 50 and 60 MPG, which is great in my opinion. Sure, modern cars get more than that, 70, 80, 90, but 50 to 60 MPG, or even I have got more than 60 MPG on a long motorway drive, is fantastic for a car that's now almost 20 years old. In fact, the only times I've seen below 50 on a regular length drive is when it's really cold, which makes sense. It is a diesel after all. I thought I just heard something like slide off my car and slide across the road, and then I looked in my mirror and it was a tractor in the adjacent field cutting a hedge. I got quite worried there for a second. And that brings me on to another point, the build quality of it. All of the switchgear inside here feels clunky, but not in the modern way where we mean slow or doesn't work properly. I mean clunky as in it makes a clunk when you use it, and I like that. It all feels solid, which is reassuring. I'm sure it's designed this way because this car was meant to appeal to young families. Whether it did or not is another question, but it was meant to. And families carry a lot of stuff, which is why there's a lot of space in the back. Reviews when it was new complained of no 7-seat option, but I don't really care. Also, something that I don't care about is streaming and Android Auto and all that sort of thing for your music. This has a CD player, a radio, and an audio port that was designed for your iPod according to the brochure, which I think is all you need. Or at least that's all I need. It does make me sound quite old-fashioned though, saying that out loud. Which, I mean, does make sense. This car mainly sold to elderly people. It kind of had that Rover Streetwise problem where it was designed for young people and young families, but sold to old people. After all, the previous owner of this exact car was in his 90s, which I think rather proves my point.
While many car enthusiasts may turn up their nose at the mere suggestion that the Roomster Scout is interesting, the car's basic idea is clearly a good one. The originator, the Rancho, is now a proper cult classic, and the idea lives on today through the Dacia Jogger stepway. After all, what is the Jogger if not Dacia's take on the Roomster? It even has an equally silly name. Now we just need Matchbox and Corgi to make some brightly coloured models to inspire a new generation of drivers.